everybody, John here. Another beautiful day in Pennsylvania, and we're on our way to Ohiopyle State Park for an overnighter. The original plan was to hike some of the trails in the park today and then make our way in the afternoon to the Laurel Highlands Trail, which begins at or ends at Ohiopyle State Park and then runs 70 miles northeast to someplace near Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So about 6 miles along on the LHT is a shelter area, and we were going to spend the night there tonight and then hike back out tomorrow. But what I learned is that I guess there are 5 shelters at that site and then 5 tent sites, so a total of 10, and they're all reserved for tonight. It is a Saturday, so we may be talking about weekend warriors who just plan to hike out there and spend the night, pretty much what we were going to do. But since there's no space for us, I had to kind of flip-flop the plan, and we're going to go out the LHT to begin with. We're going to check out that shelter area, just see what it looks like, and then come back out. I wouldn't be surprised if on the way out we encounter some of those 10 people on their way back there. But we'll hike back out and then come back to the state park, and I've reserved a campsite there for tonight. So we'll spend the night in the campground at the park, and then tomorrow hike some of the other trails. So today we have a touch over 12 miles out to that shelter area and back of what is described as very strenuous hiking. And then it may be, who knows, it may be another mile or two to the campsite. I have to check at the park office and see exactly where that site is, but we're going to hike to it as well. And so by the end of the day we may be pretty beat, especially since I got up at 1 o'clock this morning, way before the alarm. But a lot of times when I'm excited about something I'm going to be doing the next day, it's really hard to sleep. So yeah, we'll be beat by the end of the day. So these falls are right outside the park office. So if you come here for any reason, be sure and stop by the park office, which is over there, and have a look. Well, here we are. Shelter is 6.3 miles north, or east, kind of northeast. So that means we have 12.6 miles to do, and then we get back to the car where we are going to switch to the larger pack and then hike over to our campsite, which might be another mile or mile and a half, something like that. So yes, we'll be pooped by the end of the day. We're doing a little slack packing for this part. I got the small pack, but it feels a little heavy. I don't know. Bringing too much food for this part, maybe. I don't know.
We're doing a rafting trip in about 2 hours.
Oh, really?
So I said, I might as well go run up there.
Oh, so you got to go back down to the trailhead now. Okay, well.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Well, here we are at a place where we get a view of the Youghiogheny River. You can see there's a rock here. I'm not going to go out to the end of that and sit on it like some people would, because that's not my style. But you can see what they call the Yough down there. And there's a bend in the river, and it goes off ahead of us and then bends around to the left. So that makes me think that we are, if we look at this map right here, the beginning of the trail is right here, and we've been on the east side of the river here, and you see mile marker 1, 2, 3. I think we're at 2.5 at this point. So another 1.5 miles, and we should get another nice view at mile marker 4. And it's just been a little over an hour, so I'm quite surprised that I've gone 2.5 miles in just over an hour. The most recent part of the trail has been uphill pretty steadily, and it hasn't been easy. And it looks like we got a little more to do going up that way. And we'll be walking along the ridge over in that direction. So this map also has an elevation profile for the entire Laurel Highlands Trail. I've only got the first part open here. But so we've been, as you can see, we've been going uphill, and I think we're here with the view of the Youghiogheny River Valley. So next is descending down to Rock Spring Run, and then back uphill for that other view, which is around mile marker 4. It looks like here it's maybe about 4.3. And then downhill for quite a while, down to Lick Run, and then uphill to the Ohiopyle shelter area. And at that point, we'll take a look at that, and then we'll come on back. Just up the trail, less than 100 feet, less obstructed view of the river valley. Beautiful. You can see train tracks just through there, barely. They run on this side of the river. So they curve around there and off to the left. So a little bit of uphill there. And then we should start descending for a while down to Rock Spring Run. Let's do it. Well, the views get better and better. Look at this one. There's actually a couple of places where you can get a bit of an overlook. We'll step down here. Carefully. Old dude gets dizzy, too close to the edge, but I think I'm okay right about here. And yeah, that's nice. And you can see the railroad tracks quite well there. Then there's another spot right over here. Let's take a look from there. Okay, well, it's not really less obstructed, but yeah, the other spot is better. Now you can see there's a fire ring here, and sure, I would love to camp at this spot here. I don't think it's actually legal. If I were going to do it, where would I put my tent? Because this is pretty rocky ground right here. Potentially there's someplace back there, kind of nearby, I don't know. You could make do if you had a small enough tent like I do. But I don't think it's really legal to camp here because it's still within the state park boundaries. So I guess you could come up here and have a little fire and hang out, you know, for a little while. Okay, maybe we really are at the top of this climb, so we should start going downhill, down that way. By the way, trail marked by yellow blazes. They're sort of more gold to my eye. I'm going to call them gold. but gold yellow, whatever you like. All right, here's a little heads up. Just past mile marker 3, we came from there, coming downhill along a rocky path. And notice how it looks like the trail just goes straight back there. And so I just cruised right on down there. But actually, notice you're supposed to turn on this side little switchback here. You can see a blaze there and a couple of blazes down there. So the trail goes down that way. Well, I continued on. When you get to the end of this thing, which I guess is an old logging road, you come, before very long, you come to a very wide gravel road. Okay, it definitely looks drivable. But the end of this, there's kind of a drop-off there where you'd have to scramble down the hillside. It's slippery, it's steep, it's dirt. And I was looking at that and thinking, am I really supposed to do that? And then it looked like maybe the trail would follow the gravel road on in that direction, but I didn't see any blazes. Then I started looking around and thought, okay, if the trail really follows the gravel road, then when you come the other way, it should be very clear that you're supposed to go up the hillside on this old logging road. And there wasn't any kind of markings down there. And looking up the hill, there weren't any blazes. So that made me suspect, wait a minute, I think I missed a turn. And it's easy to miss this because there aren't any markings here. I mean, on the other side of that tree, let's see if there's 2 blazes that indicate a right turn or not. No. See, it's just a regular blaze there. So this is really easy to miss. And yeah, be careful there. And in case you're thinking, well, maybe it wouldn't matter, because maybe if you went down that gravel road, you'd meet up with the trail again anyway. Not so sure that happens. I think maybe the trail goes down this way. It probably does come to that gravel road, and I suspect it crosses it and then continues along the bluffs here on the east side of the Yough. So we'll see. Moving on. Now where's my staff? I set my staff down to talk about all this. Is that it? Yeah, that's it right there. Okie dokie. I could always find another one, but this one's working pretty well. So let's go. A couple of little switchbacks here. My grandpa used to have a joke about really windy roads that he didn't want to drive on. He'd say, I wouldn't go that way. That road it's got so many twists and turns, you're likely to meet yourself coming the other way. And if you recall, I almost did that on my last hike with the Phyllis Run Loop at Clear Creek State Park. I kind of did meet myself coming the other way, my past self from a few minutes before. Or actually, I came up behind myself because I traversed a part of the trail that I had already done in that same direction, and then thought, how in the heck did that happen? Oh, well, these are some nice switchbacks here because we are descending quite a bit. And I'm sure they would be appreciated if you were going the other way, too. We're at mile 5. Excellent. Moving right along. So I passed one hiker with trekking poles, practically jogging up a hill, and he kind of laughed and he said, I'm racing this guy. And then a little further down the trail, here comes a guy on a mountain bike. So I guess it's bike versus hike. There was also a post at mile 4, and I thought we were supposed to get another good overlook of the Youghiogheny River shortly after mile 4, but I did not see that. Maybe look for that on the way back. Watch out. Black racer in the path. I came about a foot short of stepping either on or right over that thing. See its tongue, sort of it's flitting its tongue. Let's see if it's gonna move on. Looks like it is. Gonna mosey off the trail. If the video is shaking, maybe it's because my hand is trembling a little because of that close call. There you go. I think that's what that is, Black Racer. It's got really faint sort of gold spots on it about every 2 inches. Ooh, that looks like is that an injury there in the back? Doesn't really look right toward the back. Okay, you be on your way and I'll be on mine. Enjoy your day. First time I've ever seen a snake that big on the trail. I would guess we are at about 5.3 or 5.4 miles along. So just about a mile to go to the shelters. We have made it to the shelter area. So there's a side trail marked by blue blazes that comes down here. So you get your water source right here. And I just availed myself of that, filled up my flask. So, across the little footbridge here, and then you do have to reserve, whether it's a shelter or a tent site. And I just bumped into a nice fella named Greg, chatted with him for a little while. He was telling me that it's like $5 a night here, which is cool. It beats the $30.50 I'm paying for my campground site back at the park. The trail goes up there. You can see a shelter up here. You can see one back there. And then the other 3 are down this way. Let's take a look at the shelter itself. Oh, and that looks like a bear box over there. Okay, so that's good. So yeah, here we go. Okay, very similar to the one that we stayed in at Oil Creek State Park on the Girard Trail. And you can build a fire there. Not so great, have this plastic right here. We're gonna go ahead and pack that out. Is that steel? Yep. Yeah, there are hot coals there. So if you're staying tonight, you should be able to fire that up without much problem. Over here, okay, this must be, is this a tenting area here? There's a fire ring there. Looks like, yeah, maybe you could, I guess there are a lot of places you could conceivably throw a tent. So I don't know where you're supposed to. It kind of looks like there's a post that looks like that has a tent symbol on it. So maybe the tent sites are all back there. All right, water is not potable. Not for human consumption, but we do have bear boxes. Okay, well that is excellent. But you need 2 hands. Okay, you have to use both hands to open it, I guess. And there are 2 of them. All right, well that's cool. Oh, and then we have privies over here. Nice. And there's some wood for you. Also nice. Pet waste bags. So this is called the Ohiopyle shelters. Ohiopyle, camping area, whatever. Okay, just says prior reservations required, but I guess maybe you're supposed to tent. I mean, I could probably make mine work somewhere there, but it's not entirely flat. But there's a picnic table down there, by the way. That's down near the firewood. Anyway, it's supposed to be 5 tent sites. They don't seem to be marked. I guess maybe they just limit it to 5 so that it doesn't get too crowded and people have different sized tents. So 12:53. So just over 4 hours it took me to get here. I mean, less than that because I just spent some time chatting and so on, and just now filming and all that. So I've probably been here for at least 20 minutes. But if we figure on at least 4 hours getting back, we won't be disappointed if it takes that long. Well, we're on our way back. I'm guessing we're at about mile 4.2. You see this stuff here? These yellow flowers? I guess this is basically a weed. This is called goldenrod. And up close, the yellow looks brighter when you're up close to it. But when you see it like on hillsides from a distance, it's more of a gold color. And we get a lot of that on the hills in Pennsylvania in September. And usually about this time, mid-September, is when it's kind of at its peak. In fact, I usually don't notice it showing up much before September. But this year, I started to see it about the second week of August, and it made me wonder if that signified an early fall and maybe an early winter. But when we look at the trees, expecting maybe some fall colors starting, there's a little bit of it. Not right here. I mean, I pretty much still see all green. But at another point on the trail, I did see some oranges and reds and yellows. But given that the goldenrod appeared so soon, I half expected to see, more fall colors by now too. Of course, those usually peak in October, but I was starting to think that maybe we would see a peak in late September. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know what explains the early goldenrod. Maybe they've got plans this year. They're trying to finish up their peak so that they can go to Florida for the winter or something. Well, it's 2:37, and as I anticipated, we passed some people who are heading the other way and going to the shelters, and we'll be staying there tonight. People who explain why I couldn't get a spot. I just passed 6 or 7 of them, in fact, a Boy Scout troop, 4 or 5 boys, I can't remember, and the 2 leaders, and stopped and chatted with them for a little while. So, the boys look like they're definitely ready to finish the last 2 miles that they have to go. So I told them what to expect up there and assured them that it was mostly downhill, because between mile 5 and 6, if you're going that way, it is almost all of it is downhill. So in the state park pamphlet, this section of trail was described as very strenuous hiking. And it has been strenuous. There has been uphill and downhill. But I expected much worse. A lot of the trail is nice and wide. Even this part here where we're descending, it's pretty wide. And there are quite a few portions that are fairly level. So I really expected narrow, single track, rocky trail with jungly parts and a lot of up and down. I expected it to be almost as bad as that part of the Chuck Kuiper trail that we did, but with additional ascents and descents. But no, compared to that, this has been gravy on cake. Well, we've come back to the crossing of Rock Spring Run, and you can see the trail goes up there. Now after we cross, then we have our last major climb of the day, and it's going to last half a mile or so. If you're coming out this way to go to the shelters, when you get to this spot here, Rock Spring Run, you can think of that as pretty much the halfway point. It's a little over halfway, I think, because it's about 3.6, 3.7 miles in. So, you know, when you get there, you can think, oh great, we're halfway there. And in fact, it'll be a little less than halfway to get to the shelters. Well, we're back to this view of the Youghiogheny River. And I'm sure you can hear that train down there as well. Can't see it, but you can certainly hear it. And even over there on the left bank of the river where the train tracks go, we still can't see the tracks for the trees, so don't think we're going to be able to see that train. Here we are, mile 0. And there is a marker right here, mile 0, which I didn't notice when we started. There's also mile marker 1, which I saw on the way back. There may be a post for 2 as well, never saw it. Okay, so we do go down this road for a little bit. Over to our left, the railroad tracks, double track right there, and you can see the reflection of the sun off the Youghiogheny River beyond. So this gravel road comes into the little town of Ohiopyle, and it's a cute little town. Just ahead, when this becomes more of like an alley, there's a tavern up ahead on our right. So we might just want to stop in there. I'm squinting because sweat's running into my eyes and making them sting. It's 5:27. I think I'm going to go ahead and donate this staff back to the forest. Let's toss it over here to our left. There we go. Well, you can hear that siren, so you know we're close enough to the human zoo. So that foray took me about 8.5 hours. I guess that's not too bad. Coming into the little town, and we got the tavern right up here on the right. Well, it's a little before 6, and we're back at the Fern Cliff parking lot. So I did stop by the Fall City restaurant and pub, got myself a brew. I was drinking it outside for a little bit, and then I emptied this real quick, put the rest of it in here. I don't know if that's allowed, but well, we're switching to the big pack now, and then hike over to the campground. Not sure how far that is. I mean, it can't be more than, let's say, 3 miles. Certainly no more than that. All right, from the parking lot, we have to walk back to the road, and then we have to go across that bridge, which is a footbridge. Let's do it. So I just met this fellow. What's your name?
Ganesh.
Ganesh, okay. And you are biking. So you came from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Along what they call the Gap, the Great Allegheny Passage. So that is an old railroad grade.
Yeah, right.
And what is it, like crushed limestone now?
Yeah, crushed limestone.
Okay.
in downtown, it's all proper paved trail. But
What part of Pittsburgh does it start in?
downtown.
Oh, downtown. Okay.
Yeah, they have a water fountain near the cane, the incline.
The Duquesne Incline. Okay.
Yeah,
All
right
right.
by there. They have that's the start of the trail, and then takes you all the way down here.
And it goes all the way to where?
To Cumberland, Maryland.
Cumberland, Maryland. Okay, a beautiful place. How many miles is it?
Totally, it's 148 miles.
Okay. And how long will it take you to do the whole?
Probably tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, evening.
Tomorrow afternoon you'll be there?
Yeah.
Did you start this morning?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, started this morning.
So just a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be done in 2 days.
Yeah.
This is the longer section, so till Ohiopyle, and then beyond that, it's another 60-something miles. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So where are you spending the night tonight?
Oh, actually, we're going to Confluence. Bed and breakfast.
That's the name of a town, right?
Yeah,
Confluence.
that's the next town. It's about 10 miles down.
Well, Ganesh, success to you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great trip. Well, here we go now, across the Youghiogheny River. By the way, during that interview, I apologize if you could hear a little funny noise. It has to do with my camera and tripod. There's a little, you can hear a little wobbling noise, and I haven't figured out what to do to fix it. It's when I use my boosted battery and hook it to the tripod that it happens. With the regular battery, it doesn't do that. Regular battery's dead, had to switch to the boost, so I kind of have to hold my fingers in a certain place to prevent it from doing it. I probably didn't remember that time. All right, after we cross the river here, there should be a campground connector trail, but then we have to walk through the campground for quite a while. We have to twist and turns and various roads, so we'll see how that goes. The Great Allegheny Passage, the Gap, and I guess we are on it right now. Must be what this is. We go up here a bit, and we should find a campground connector trail. So you know what? I misunderstood. We didn't have to cross that other bridge, because after we did, we found that the trail went right by the Ferncliff parking lot, and there was the silver streak. But it's this bridge right here that we need to cross. So we're going back across the Youghiogheny River. This bridge seems to be quite a bit higher, and it would be an old railroad bridge. In fact, you can see the ties on the side here. Maybe you can see them better over there. There are the railroad ties, and there's the river down there. I'm not that fond of heights, so I'm fine in the middle of the bridge looking over, but when I get up here near the railing, I get just a little bit dizzy. All right, moving on. Well, I got started this morning just before 6 and was all ready to go just before 7. Didn't really do any filming last night at the campground because I was pooped and I was losing daylight fast, but I slept pretty good. There was a little bit of sprinkling, very light, overnight, and it's still happening now. You can hear it above. So today we're going to do the Great Gorge Trail and then the Cucumber Falls Trail. And then that one will take us to the highway, the state highway that goes through the middle of Ohiopyle State Park. And we'll walk the road back to the car. Well, we've been walking along this nice wide path for quite some time. The Great Gorge Trail. I guess it continues on down that way. But down here we have Cucumber Run. Cucumber Run there. And a bridge across it. We continue to the left, and that is the Cucumber Falls Trail, which shouldn't be very long. So, won't be long until we're back to the road. And so if we take a look at the map here. So just to review everything, we parked here in what's called the Ferncliff parking lot. Walk along this road in the little town of Ohiopyle, which is in white here, and access the Laurel Highlands Trail. So we took that out 6.3 miles to the Ohiopyle shelters yesterday, and then came on back. When we got back to the Ferncliff parking lot, I thought we were going to have to cross the river here, so we crossed it twice. Went across the road and then crossed it here, and this is the Great Allegheny Passage. But then I noticed, well, we just walked right past the parking lot again. So we could, from the car, we could have just gotten on the gap and then crossed the Youghiogheny River here. Then we took the Camp Connect Trail up to the campground. That was 0.3 miles, and it was a gravel path, and it was pretty steep uphill the whole way. And I thought, ugh, I could have done without ending the day like this. And then it was quite a hike within the campground to get over to our campsite, which is over here someplace. So this morning, came back out, and just off the Camp Connect Trail was it isn't shown too well on the map here, but basically the Great Gorge Trail starts up here, and then you end up going along the Youghiogheny River. So now we're down to this point, take the Cucumber Falls Trail to the road, and then the road back to the car, and I think I'll take that bridge, that gap bridge over the Youghiogheny River again, just for fun. And here's where Cucumber Run empties into the Youghiogheny River. Okay, next gold blaze is up that tree. I don't know if I should climb up here or over there. Guess I'll try it here. There we go. Well, yesterday we got a beautiful view of the Youghiogheny from way up above on the Laurel Highlands Trail. Today we get a beautiful view from right beside it on the Cucumber Falls Trail. Well, we're back on the road coming through the little town of Ohiopyle, where it looks like we got a bunch of boaters arriving for their day of fun on the river. And there's that bridge across the Youghiogheny. We don't have to take it. We could take the road bridge straight ahead of us, but I think it's more fun to take the high bridge there. And I see a banner on the bridge that says Wine Festival next week. Oh man, if we'd known about that, we might have waited a week for this outing. So I'm not sure what the mileage is for today for the hike. A shorter hike. I'll figure it out and put it in a caption there, but yesterday was about 15 miles, and basically the plan was a longer day the first day, spend the night, and then a shorter day on day 2, and that's what we did. We had planned to stay in the shelters along the LHT last night. That didn't work out, but we stayed in the campground instead, so everything worked out fine, and it was a great time. And I guess we saved the most stunning scenery for last, which is kind of cool. So here we are walking by this again. So I'm going to cross this bridge, head back to the car, and I may stop by a little place here in Ohiopyle that has breakfast burritos. That might be happening. So thanks for watching. I want to thank those who have subscribed to the channel and those who take time to press the like button on the videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we'll see you on the next adventure.